Vidiyo a bụ maka mba na-abọ kịta anyị nọ na ya a na-akpọ ofu n'ime mba Igbo. Etu esi espeli na skript nke ndị oyibo anyị na-eyuzi IGPO. Mba nke ọzọ Ashkenazi. Sọsọ mba na-abụ a ka mma ndị mmadụ na-ewepụta oge ha enwe maka etu ụwa si dị kịta. Ndị mmadụ enwezi efe. Enwere so many things enwere a ga-eme mana efe imi ya drọ, mana ndị mmadụ na-ewepụta oge na-agbaghasị na-doubt ebe mba na-abụ asị na mba a na-akpọ ancient Israel. Mana ma marọ ife kpatara o ji wụrụ sọ oke. Ọ bụ ọdụ na m amahọ, maka nkwuo na m amahọ, ọwụ na na-etinyezi onwe ebe ntinyere ndị ọzọ. Mba na-abụ a, ndị a na-akpọ Igbo na ndị a na-akpọ Ashkenazi. Sọsọ mba na-abụ a ka ndị mmadụ enweghị efe na-agba mbọ fuo efe ahụ, na-ekwu na ha esighị ebe a ha si. Ka nkwukwe n'oyibo, this presentation is about two nations. One is the nation we know as the Igbo. If you see an Igbo person, or if you say Igbo, you are looking at one. The other one is the nation called Ashkenazi. As far as I know, these are the only two nations that people bring out time they don't have to dispute, to deny their ancestral origins. I don't see anybody in the world saying that the Germans are not from where they say they were from. I'm yet to see anybody in the world denying the origins of the Yoruba people. The Yorubas themselves, I don't mean what people who have never seen a Yoruba or studied the Yoruba culture, history, religion say. The Yorubas say that the world began at Ile-Ife. That is one of their traditions of origin. I have also seen Yoruba scholars that say that the Yorubas were descendants of the ancient Canaanites. You know, those peoples that dwelled in the land of Canaan before the Israelites moved there. I have also looked at Hausa oral traditions, which says that the Yoruba were part of the Banzabokwe. The second and the third accounts are related, but I have never seen anybody invest one kobo in doubting this. No less a person, I'm talking about a third group now. The greatest Fulani of the 20th century was Ahmadu Bello. He wrote that the Fulani and the Arab were one people. I've never seen anybody that doubts this. But mention the Igbos, mention that they came from Israel, even though if you look at their culture, you are looking at the culture of the Israelites. If you know their language, you are aware, you are familiar with the language of the ancient Israelites. But people invest so much time and energy saying that the Igbos did not come from Israel. And I noticed that this same thing applies to the nation we call the Ashkenazi. The Ashkenazi is the most numerous of the primarily three groups that are known traditionally since the past 200 years as the Jews. You have the Ashkenazi, you have the Sephardi, you have the Mizrahi. I'm talking about groups known traditionally as Jews since the past 100 years. People doubt it. The Igbos and just the Ashkenazi. This is an obsession. At a stage, I say if I say I do not know why, then I'm, being neglectful of what I know. It is anti-Semitism. It is because of anti-Semitism that people doubt that the Igbos and the Ashkenazi are descendants of the Israelites. I am the foremost authority on the joint histories of both of these two groups. I'm not saying that I know more Ashkenazi history than the Ashkenazis themselves. But as far as their connections to their interactions, their connections to the Igbo people is concerned, I know it more than anybody alive. And I know that there are traditions of the Igbo people that the Ashkenazi, that are also traditions of the Ashkenazi. I will talk about one. If somebody behaved in an abominable way, does something that is so bad that the ear should not even hear it, the Igbo people mourn such a person alive. The Igbos do to the person what we call a kwayanando. He is mourned while he's still alive. Not up to 25 or 30 years ago, an Ashkenazi synagogue in New York mourned an Ashkenazi Jew alive because more than 25 years ago, maybe more than 30 years ago, because the children of this man are still alive. Because this man, in the aftermath of the Second World War, after Jews had lost 6 million people, he made them to lose more by marrying a Christian girl. The Jewish community in New York, United States, mourned him alive. This is an ancient Israelite practice. You remember Josephus? Josephus was the Jewish general or the Israelite general who went over to the Romans. The Israelites of his era, they mourned him while he was alive. If the Jews did not come from Israel, they won't have this tradition. Because this is ancient Israel. But still, anti-Semites obsessively deny that these two groups came from Israel. I have seen videos where somebody that should believe me, if he can trust himself, there is no reason why he will not trust me, where he said, that's what I believe is contrary to what science says. The facts I have are stronger than science. The Igbos have lived the Israelite culture without interruption since the Israelites existed. Damn the science that disposed this. What is science? DNA, which people are regarding as science, is not telling us any story. People came up with the fantasy that they saw the genes of the Levites. It's a purely fantasy. And people are looking at this as science? No. The farthest science can go in determining who is Israelite is the person who has Israelite culture, whose DNA match the DNA of other groups that have been in the Levant for a very long time. And this method, the Igbo experience matches it 1,000,000 times. For you to doubt that the Igbos came from Israel is like saying you doubt that Israelites existed. What do you mean? The people that identify the people that are Levites among the Igbos, for 3,000 years they have done what Levites did. You come to Igbo land, you see communities numbering like 3,000 persons, all of them are doctors, and they carry out priestly functions. and you are talking about science, maybe we need to look at definitions of science again to know what it means. But the important or the most relevant part of this video is anti-Semitism and doubting that the Igbos are and the Ashkenazi are Israelites because they are anti-Semites. That is for those that are their doubts are based on purely anti-Semitism. Then the others that doubt are doubting because they are ignorant. And in this category are Igbos and Jews. If you are ignorant, you are ignorant. Being Igbo, being Jewish does not stop you from being ignorant. You can take it or you can leave it.